Well, good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome back to Jen Cares. I'm your host, the founder of Chosen Counselors, a nonprofit organization that seeks to inspire, motivate, empower, and strengthen individuals and families. Wow, we are back for our second series. Our first series was amazing. So grateful for you watching, sharing, and joining in on the conversations. Special thanks to Pastor Brian Jackson, Kelly Brown, therapist Tiff, professional coach, life and professional coach Joyce, and my cousin Darren West. I am humbled and honored that you take a moment to tune in. I appreciate it. And my prayer is that you walk away with some encouragement. I'm excited for all that we have planned for the next 3 weeks as it is our finance series. Y'all like that umbrella? I did that. It's custom. I feel like I might need to order one of them. Okay, so starting today until August 31st, we're going to be talking about finances. And I'm not going to belabor anything. We're going to jump right in. Remember that this is an interactive session, so you can ask questions in the comments, and we're going to work to answer them the best we know how. Okay, so tonight my special guest is Kamiel, the Koin Counter. And I have known her for a while, and if you want to talk about budgeting, you want to talk to her. And I know that we don't always do well with budgeting. I'll say I don't always do well with budgeting. I mean, I've struggled sometimes. If we want to be honest, we've all been there, but I'll take it for the team tonight. But I wanted to bring somebody on to give us some pointers and resources to help us stretch and save our bills. Not those bills that come faithfully, Pico, the water bill, the cable bill, things of that sort. But we want to stretch and save those bills like that George Washington, Thomas Jefferson's, Abraham Lincoln's, Andrew Jackson's, Ulysses Grant's, and last but not least, the Benjamin Franklin. All right? So in church, they say if something moves you, say amen. Tonight, I'm going to ask you if something moves you that you share, because we want to encourage the community to learn to budget. So, okay. Help me introduce my friend and special guest tonight, Kamiel Corbin, who is the Koin Counter. Good evening. How are you doing?
I cannot complain, Jen. All is well. How about yourself?
I won't complain either. It's such an amazing day. So again, I share with you, want to ask you some questions. Okay. We're going to have the audience ask us some questions, and we're going to rock it out. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. So the other day I saw this quote. Mm-hmm. It said, "It's not your salary that makes you rich. It's your spending habits." By Charles Jaffe. Hope I say this name right, but we get what he's saying. It's not your salary that makes you rich, but it's your spending habits. Kamiel, can you share with us, what's your thoughts on that?
I completely agree. We all have those habits that that don't really, help us in the long run. It's always for that moment. But I came up with my quote for me and my remembrance every morning.
Okay.
And that quote is, if you make a plan for your money, you will have more of your money.
If you make a plan for your money, you will have
more of your money.
I got to make a plan. I want to make a plan that it don't disappear as fast as when I get it, because Mr. Bill is so faithful. He is that friend that I wish I didn't have, but I appreciate him because he helps me to stabilize. But yes, I like that plan and our money. All right. So, okay. So have you always been good at saving?
No.
Okay.
So transparency moment. Hopefully my aunt does not see this live. So my aunt raised me, and she was always the one that verbally said, you work hard, you should be able to spend your money the way you spend your money. Although I get that to a certain degree.
Yes.
But inwardly in her household, she was teaching us how to stretch those bills without even saying it. And I didn't recognize it or realize it until I was in my older age. And I said, wait a minute. She's been stretching these bills all these years. We never went to school. Raised 5 children, one of them not hers. So, and we never wanted for anything. So, say, what is that saying? You do as I say, not as I do, or something like that.
Yeah. Do as I say, not as I do.
So, while she was, saying you work hard for your money, you should be able to, buy what you want. she was also showing us what it
Mm-hmm.
meant to, she had to
Awesome.
budget. She was
Awesome.
forced to.
Awesome. So she was practicing what she preached, which is even better because sometimes people could tell you something, but if they're not doing it, you don't see it in action. You're like, well, how you know it's going to work or not? You what
Exactly.
you're giving me. So it's
Yep.
amazing to be able to see that happening. Yes, if you make a plan for your money, you have
You will have
more of
more
your
of your
money.
money. Yes.
So tonight we're gonna find out how to make a plan. So what is budgeting and why is it
Okay.
so important?
All right. So I'm going to give you the Investopedia definition.
Okay.
So according to Investopedia, budgeting is an estimation of revenue and expenses over a specified future period of time
Mm-hmm.
and is usually compiled and reevaluated on a periodic basis. And
Okay.
I'm sure everyone, or mostly everyone on this live, is like, wah, 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 wah. Um, yeah. According to those that do not like to budget
Mm-hmm.
or may be intimidated, because I shouldn't, you can't always think, well, they don't know what I've been through. I don't need to budget. I don't want to budget.
Mm-hmm.
Or they just may not have a clue as to
Mm-hmm.
even, how to begin.
Okay.
Budgeting for those people may sound something along the lines of a budget is a restriction.
Okay.
I work hard, so why can't I spend my hard-earned money
Mm-hmm.
when I want and how I want?
Mm-hmm.
Which is fine. Just make sure you're spending your money and not the bank's money. For
Oh.
example, credit cards,
Oh.
which is what got me on my journey.
Okay.
So, budgeting to me,
Mm-hmm.
my definition
Mm-hmm.
is me putting a leash on the money that God has entrusted to me
Mm.
before it gets loose and causes
Mm.
havoc.
Whew. Putting a leash.
A leash.
That
Like,
means it can't go.
nope.
It gotta come back in. It can't be just going any and everywhere. That's good.
Yes. So, in other words, making a plan for my income
Mm-hmm.
before it's received so that it doesn't make plans for me.
Mm. Mm. So that means when I'm just trying to get some stuff, or I'm all of a sudden hungry and I know I got food at home, my money be trying to make a plan for me.
Your words.
But that Chick-fil-A is so good, even though they closed on Sunday. It's still my Chick-fil-A, you know?
Your words.
Oh,
We'll
goodness.
talk about, we'll talk about those line items when you budget.
Okay, okay,
We'll
okay,
talk about it.
okay, okay. So we talked about the budgeting and what it means to budget. So, like, what are the basics and getting on that track? Like, what happened for the credit card to say, okay, I need to, like, wheel it back in. I need to put that
Ooh,
leash a little firmer.
that's a you are so lucky I am a little bit more mature because that used to be a sore topic.
Uh-oh.
Don't tell me what to do. I could do what I want with my
Mm-hmm.
credit card and blah 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 blah.
Yes, yes.
And I paid my credit cards off maybe twice before. And we're not talking about like $5,000. We're talking about like real money. We're talking about
Okay,
like money.
okay, okay.
Um,
The Benjamin Franklin's time.
whew, yeah. I'm not proud. I'm not proud.
Hey,
But
we all there.
it taught me so much, right?
Mhm,
So, like I said, I paid them off before, but I kept doing the same thing, right? Because
mhm,
I'm like, oh, I got this under control. I'm gonna just buy this shirt for $25. But by the time the interest kicks in, and by the time your billing cycle kicks in, you're paying way more than $25 for that shirt. And
mhm.
that's what people don't understand. Or some, let me say that.
Right,
Let me say
right,
some people. And it's a dangerous, dangerous game to play.
right.
So
Mhm.
the basics of budgeting is, for me, knowing your income and tracking your monthly expenses.
Okay, okay.
That's like basic. There are so many people. I facilitated a budgeting workshop. Forget, maybe like 2 years ago, and they had so much fun. There were different segments,
Mhm.
and they had so much fun doing, like, the exercise, and like she had something about like a healthy segment.
Okay.
Every time my week turned around, everybody had to go to the bathroom,
Uh,
or they wanted to talk about something else, and it wasn't, they weren't being rude. It's just a
mhm.
sore topic.
Yes, yes.
One, you gotta, you have to watch who you tell your financial situation to. Everyone's not going to be your cheerleader. Everyone is, people don't want to see people out of debt. They're like, oh well, that's on them. They made their, made their decision. They made their choice. And this is probably like, I just need to throw this plug in there. 18-year-olds that have not been taught about credit cards should not have a credit card. I said it. Oh, go ahead.
And if we're honest, we weren't taught at 18 what a credit card was. We just thought we should go. And I'll never forget the UMES campus freshman year. They had the table set up. They're like, "Come get a credit card. Come get a credit card." You excited? Everybody getting in line. I was declined. No. I had fraud.
Oh, that's a whole nother topic.
That's a whole nother topic. So it possibly was a blessing that I was declined. And then we worked out to get their fraud taken care of and everything or whatever like that. But yeah, you don't know about that interest. You think that, hey, it's money. I got money to spend. I'm good. I can pay it off. But then what happens is
not even pay it all. Pay the minimum.
What? Pay
the minimum. I'm okay. I'm paying the minimum. It's $25 a month.
And you don't even have that much credit left because you done spent it. But you only pay $25 a month.
You paying $25 a month. And I was making pizzas when I was in college. So what was I paying?
Right. Pennies.
So,
pennies. Lord. So even, we say 18-year-olds, but I mean, I could say a 21, 25, 35, 45, 65, 75.
No, you're right.
If you don't know about credit, you want to be careful because there's so many scams going on. Yep. And then you get the card, and then you thinking that it'll help you, and then if your life is anything like mine, you fix one situation, and then here comes another, and then here comes another, and then here comes another, and before you know it, you're in this pit, and you're like, well, how do I get out?
Exactly. So I'm just gonna how can I put this? So when I realized I had a problem or an issue, I was maybe about 25, 26. So I enjoy research. Like I will research something because I love making plans. I will make a plan. Listen, I got about 10 of these, probably not 10, but probably like 3.
Yes.
I love writing things out, writing goals out. I found a book the other day, and it said, I'm getting out of debt this year, and it was 2000, I think. And I was like, oh, okay,
it's coming.
Okay.
It's coming.
We're still playing this game. We're still playing this game because that's what it is. It's a sick, vicious game that these banks play, and once they start to see. So here's another tricky part. Once they start to see that you paid this credit card down, they send you a nice email, or I don't, if you don't have paperless billing, they'll send you an email or a letter and say, congratulations, your credit, your spending power. Sorry, my apologies. Your spending power has been increased, and I'm like, I don't want any more. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it.
And he's like, oh, I got it.
And then an emergency comes up.
Yes. And those emergencies aren't sometimes real emergencies.
No.
And then sometimes we have the money to do it, but we still choose to use the credit card.
All in the name of points. Don't get me started.
But if you use it, you get some points for the airlines or you get some other discounts. But even still, even though that is nice, you still...
Is it though? Because you pay you would have to spend at least, I forget the calculation, but it's 100,000 to get 10,000 points. Hey, to each his own.
Yes. Look, the airport even gets you too when you're on the plane. Check out this little brochure. No, not doing it.
So 50,000 free miles. You're like, they're not free, sir. Stop.
They're not free. Gabrielle said, I wish they taught us about student loans at 18. It's so true. It's like another.
Ooh, that's another.
I was having a conversation with a young lady that wants to go away to school, and we were talking about how the budgeting of it will work. How much can you get? I'm like, ask these questions like, what's your cap? Knowing that ahead of the game before you get into a couple of years and you can't finish because you have no more, financial aid that you get or the loans that your parents get. that starts soon as you go to school. They got to start making those payments. And if your parent is already handling some other things,
it's not feasible. It's
it's
not
not feasible.
feasible. And they know that. They
Mhm.
know that. But mom, I want to go to the school that has the pond in the front and it
Yes,
has flamingos in the back.
yes, because it looks nice. It's
It
pretty.
looks
All my
nice.
friends are going there. So you really, that's like a life decision to really like pursue. I mean, to really evaluate. So kind of like put before you, like, is this good? Is this it? What's the pros? What's the cons? To really know what you're doing and to
Right.
talk to somebody. And I got a back to school coming up next month's series where we're going to have a counselor talking about the questions you want to ask. So we'll talk about that then. But
Yes.
I appreciate
Yes.
the comment
It's
because you want to
dangerous.
answer
It's
questions. Yes,
dangerous. It's
they need to add
dangerous.
that class to the curriculum. Since we homeschooling doing
Yeah,
virtual,
right.
let's
Yeah,
add that.
right. But I actually want exactly.
Yes.
I'm thinking. No, I'm sorry. Not I'm thinking. What I want to say is there is an excellent podcast about
Mhm.
the whole student loan, like that whole
Mhm.
student loan forgiveness program and
Okay.
how they're like accepting one in every, I don't even know, it's a super, super exuberant amount. And it's called Borrow Future, and it's with
Okay.
Anthony O'Neill.
Okay.
And it's an excellent podcast. I wish it was out when when we were younger, but it's here
Mhm.
now. So, and it'll teach the parents that are raising those children that are, that want to go
Mhm.
to I almost said law school, Lord have mercy, that want to go to college,
Okay. That's your lane.
and
That's
still
your
in
lane.
grad school, so
Mhm.
there's that.
Awesome. So please do share that with me. I'll be sure to share that with our
Absolutely.
viewers and things of that sort. Okay.
Absolutely.
So with budgeting,
Sorry.
no. Look, every side street is still needed.
Yes.
Something that's beneficial for somebody that's listening. And again, people pop in and out, So, but when they
Hmm.
pop in, they're like, "Oh, I needed to hear that," because I do wish
Right.
we did talk about that.
Right.
Okay. So when should I start budgeting?
I say, why not now?
Okay.
Um, people, so people are, it's what is this, August 10th today, right? So they'll
Yes.
say, well,
Yes.
I'll start in 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't you start now? Why
Mm-hmm.
can't you start your next, I don't know if you make a plan for your money, then maybe your next paycheck is already accounted for. But if you don't make a plan for your money, why
Mm-hmm.
not make a plan tonight,
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow? Or even do September. September will be a year for me. I'm so excited
Okay.
that I really honed in and said, enough's enough. Like, I'm done. I'm done.
Okay.
An embarrassing moment was I calculated the amount of interest I was paying. And
Mm.
I literally got a visual of me on payday
Mm.
swiping my debit card or, going to the ATM, taking out the money that I'm paying in interest and throwing it in the sewer because that's exactly what I'm doing,
Right.
you
Mm.
know.
Mm.
And that's when the light bulb went off. I was like, this is crazy. This is ridiculous.
Right. And it's so important that question of when should I start?
Mm-hmm.
Because with what we're going through right now, some people that are collecting unemployment
Mm-hmm.
have been getting some nice checks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and my fear or my prayer is that nobody's blowing it. Like we are, that they are not. We are because she's not benefiting from that right now. But we thank God that I'm still working.
We're still employed. We're still
I'm still
employed.
employed, gainfully employed.
Right.
I thank God.
Mm-hmm.
But it'd be nice, you can swing that my way. But
Just a little
nevertheless,
bit. Just a little
yes,
bit.
yeah, just a little bit, I mean, just one more.
All
Okay.
right. Yep. I got you. I got you.
But I'm hoping that they're not like blowing it. I know like people are buying
Right.
cars, and that's great. Making sure that you're still able to budget for that insurance though. Making sure that you're still able to budget for when that car breaks down because it's one thing happening, but I've gotten in cars before. Not I've gotten cars before, but I mean I've had a car for a good portion of my life now, and the simplest things happen. It's not just an oil change. It's not just an inspection. You ride through the city of Philadelphia and we have potholes and dips and things. Like you're going on a roller coaster. You don't need to go to Six Flags.
Exactly. She said
So,
6 Flags.
but then you will have that wear and tear. So, like sometimes
Right.
we'll buy something, but that's a piece too of knowing the connecting factors to it. So, yes, I bought the car, but what else comes with that car? You know.
Right. And I'm so, I feel so fortunate in the area of cars because, my dad He taught me so much about cars, and that was one of the ways that we just bonded. We would be on the phone for hours.
Mm-hmm.
And he just taught me so much that whenever I go purchase a car, um, or before I purchase a vehicle, I look at the size of the tires. I price the tires. I price the brakes. I buy my own brakes and I take them to my mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the windshield wipers, anything that's, replaceable that I can, kind of handle
Mm-hmm.
myself.
Mm-hmm.
I price that and I allocate that and put that in my little budgeting book. And I say, okay,
Mm-hmm.
this may come up.
Yes.
Another thing that people don't think about with cars, and they act like it's new every year, which is amazing to me, but the registration.
It is new. It sneaks up. You don't be right. I'm teasing. I'm teasing. That's what I said. I know some people that don't pay no mind.
Mhm.
And I'm like, don't you think and say, oh, okay, you be
Mhm.
great. Because
Registration
you can see it.
stickers.
Then you don't
Mhm.
open up a new bill.
Yep.
And we already
Yep.
said Mr. Bill ain't my friend like that. Like,
No.
he ain't friends.
No, I do not budget on a monthly basis for parking tickets, for any of that, because I'm not
Mhm.
interested. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
No.
Absolutely.
Mm-mm.
Hmm.
But you know, you said why, I said, why not start now? But the better question that people have to ask themselves is, why do you want to budget?
Mm.
What is your purpose for budgeting? Because when
Mm.
you know your why, it puts a purpose behind it, and it puts a drive
Yeah.
behind you sticking to that goal, right?
Yeah.
And the other question is, what goals are you trying to attain? So,
Mm.
okay, if you're budgeting, what are you budgeting for? For what?
Right. Right.
People could be budgeting to allocate more money to paying off debt. They could be
Hmm.
putting,
Hmm.
money towards their children's future education expenses.
Yes. Okay.
It could be a number of things, but you
Yes.
have to ask yourself, what
Why?
is my why?
Mm.
Why am I budgeting?
Because I don't want to be living from paycheck to paycheck, Alex.
Ooh,
Trebek.
that's another
I'm sorry.
one.
What is I don't want to be living paycheck to
Ooh,
paycheck?
that is another one. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. I
He's
used
like,
to
yeah, I got a head, girl.
listen, it was so bad, Jen, that one night I was praying. I said, what am I doing wram? I'm paying my tithes. What am I doing wrong? The
Mm-hmm.
Bible says bring your tithes into the store. What am I doing? I'm doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget that. I wish I had the date, because it would help me track like my journey. Um, our apostle posted um, Chris Hogan's book, Everyday Millionaires, and I don't know why it stuck out to me, but I went and ordered the book because I love reading.
Okay.
And I'm reading the book, and I'm like, girl, you can't even stay on top of your bills. How you gonna be a millionaire?
Mm.
So then that led me down, which I'm always down, a rabbit hole. And I stumble across Dave Ramsey, the
Mm-hmm.
Dave Ramsey Network. And I said, okay, all right. So I'm gonna follow and see what I find. And Dave says it so perfectly.
Mm.
Or not he says it, I'm sorry. He read this scripture is so perfect for this journey. And it's Proverbs 22:7. The rich rules over the poor.
Mm.
The borrower is slave to the lender.
Mm.
The borrower. So if you're borrowing
Mm.
everything, how can you flourish? How can you,
Right.
you
Right.
know, it's a vicious cycle. It's a vicious cycle. So, that's what made me I just took a journey into the book of Proverbs. I think I've read it like 3 times already. Like I just
I
it's
love
it's such
Proverbs.
an
I love
oh, it's so
Proverbs.
full.
Mm-hmm.
So full.
Yeah.
Um so yes, I'm sorry. I was
No
just
worries. No
saying.
worries. So we have
Um
a couple questions too. You
okay.
ready?
Mhm.
Okay. So Gabrielle says, "How do you budget without feeling like you're on a spending ball and chain?"
Um hmm. Meaning restrictions, right? Like
Yeah.
meaning,
Mm-hmm.
so you have to take a step back. And that step back is literally looking at all of your income.
Mm-hmm.
All of your income. I am in a I realize I'm in a different type of situation because I am single. I don't have children,
Mm-hmm.
but I still have responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas a lot of people, they have children, they have certain expenses that I do not have. But the
Okay.
first step is literally looking at all of your income. The money is there. The
Mm-hmm.
money is there. Unless you are, unfortunately underpaid. And I know that is some situations and
Mm-hmm.
circumstances with certain people, but for the most part, the money's there. It's just what are you spending your money on? So looking at all of your income and then
Mm-hmm.
looking at all of your expenses,
Mm-hmm.
there's cuts to be made.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me when I tell you. I haven't had
Oh yes.
cable,
Oh yes.
all those a la carte subscriptions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What else did I cut? Oh my gosh. You can wait. There is cable, the subscriptions, groceries.
Wait a minute.
Hold on.
Okay.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Okay.
Groceries and still spending and dining out like you didn't buy groceries for the month. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Been there, done that too.
Mm.
Mm,
And that's a big one
it's huge.
because if you go grocery shopping, like grocery shopping,
Hmm.
you spend way less money. Like if you
Hmm.
go out to eat, you're spending $10. I could go to the grocery store and spend $10 and have that meal for a couple of days.
Yeah.
But if I go to the restaurant, that's just and $10. Obviously, I'm lowballing. It's not even like one of the fancy places.
Right.
Okay, but if I go to a fancy place, it's a little bit more money. And
And I want it. It was Gabrielle. You said.
yes,
I want her to know. I want you to know, Gabrielle, that budgeting doesn't mean you're restricted. It just means that you're making a plan for your money. Don't
mm-hmm.
look at it as a restriction because you will
Right,
always look at it that way.
right.
I
A
love
change of
sushi.
perspective. I like
I
that.
love sushi.
Mm-hmm.
Sushi's expensive because I'm not getting it from the corner.
Yes.
Um, I budget for it.
Okay.
I can't have it every night.
Okay.
But I budget for it because I like sushi and I don't eat meat anymore. So
Okay.
that cut my grocery bill a lot.
Okay.
That cut my grocery bill a lot.
We have another question.
Okay.
Seasons of Philly. Watching from YouTube. Okay, YouTube. Hi, Koin Counter. I'm loving this Koin Counter. Is it normal to have to adjust my monthly budget for some months?
Yes, absolutely. So that was actually that point is actually one of my takeaways. Um, some months will fluctuate.
Okay.
Um, you know, we know that in the winter we're going to have a higher heating bill. Budget for that.
Mm-hmm.
In the summer, vice versa. We know that
Right.
Pico,
Yeah.
whoever you have your electricity through, is going to
Yeah.
be a little higher. Listen, I was at the supermarket in March and April, like someone took
Mm-hmm.
all of my food out of the fridge.
So let's talk about that though, because we are home more often. So in a sense, it feels like we are eating a little bit more, are we not?
Are
No,
we though? Are we though?
you're right. You're right. But I feel like I'm more intentional with buying groceries because I am home or
Right.
like you're on
Right.
14, so it's better to just have it here. Um,
Exactly.
and I feel like it has been amazing.
Yeah.
My sister said, "Were you eating out at $10? Chick-fil-A closed on Sunday. Give my Chick-fil-A." But again, that's low scale, and that's just
Yeah,
my
that
number
is a
one
low
go-to,
scale.
with my half and half on a Palmer.
You know what? So yes, it is normal to adjust your monthly budget, especially those that are not working in jobs or positions that are salaried, that are you have your hairdressers, your you
Yes.
know the those that have a different monthly income every month.
Okay.
That's a little trickier. You
Mm.
have to really be on it, and you have to give yourself grace. You have to. Because if you're new to budgeting
Give
and
yourself
you're not
grace.
accustomed to budgeting, you're not going to get it perfect the first. I think it took me about 3 to 4 months to get it right. And I was like, what?
But the
So,
kids, you kept on trying. So that's the question
yes,
too. How do you stay on track?
you have to stay on. Exact, remembering your why.
Okay. Okay.
Remembering your why.
Okay.
I would write notes. My spiritual mother told me that she suggested to me that I write, certain things on my mirror or somewhere that I see every
Okay.
morning.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I did. I wrote Proverbs 22:7 on my mirror.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote Remember Your Why. I started a thing in 2019 where I said, you know what, I'm practicing no in 2020. I
Mm-hmm.
am an ultimate gift giver. I love giving. It's a problem. Um, and it's gotten me in trouble before, but I
Okay.
love giving. I love being able to just, make someone smile, make someone's day. And I don't I'm like an expensive gift giver, and that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to like reel that back in.
Okay.
um but that was another thing that made me realize I need to get my life in order as far as these credit cards were concerned, because I remember we were having so many different giving events, not even just at the church, but I support our local soup kitchen, and I had to like decrease the amount that I was giving because these credit card payments were just like eating me alive. And I
Okay.
was like, this is not what God entrusted you this
Mm-hmm.
money for, to be paying credit card interest,
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of pissed me off too.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yes, and that's it though. I have a credit card. One, don't plan to get
Mm,
another. And
mm,
I've really been diligent to really work to pay it off and not
good.
use it again. You know, use it, and if I did use it, then I'm paying an extra to make sure that's covered. Or like
Hmm.
as where like you get money back and you can use that to cover expense, and then you're covered. So like
Right.
trying to just be more wise with it, because
Yes.
it is. I get it. You get excited. I could only really ball in a Dollar Tree, because you just go in there and be like, hey,
This the last year for that, Jen.
huh?
This the last year for that.
That's a Dollar Tree, but like being serious with yourself and knowing like, and
Right.
I'm really good. Like I could go in the store and see something, and I could hold it and walk around and be like, you don't need this. So I could talk myself out of it.
I
But it's
call that the cart
sometimes,
check.
huh?
I call that the cart check.
Oh yeah, I do it all the time because I'm like, you don't need this. You don't
Nope.
need this.
Nope.
Now if it's like really a good sale, it's like $3.99. I'm teasing. I'm making up numbers, everybody. It depends where you shop at. But what I'm saying is some things are needed, so
Yes.
knowing what's needed and knowing what's a want. Like
Yes.
the other day, I
Yes.
bought some pillows. You want to have a quality pillow, so I'm going to pay a little bit more for that pillow than
Right.
I would for something else. So knowing the purpose and knowing your standard too. I'm not telling you to
Right.
go buy some dollar pillows because then you're going to need to buy more. You
Right.
know.
Exactly. And then you
So
end up spending more.
yes, yes. So
Yes. Yes.
being smart. Okay.
Hmm.
So someone said, have you ever been told that you should save 6 months of your monthly expenses saved as a nest egg? I know I have heard that, and I have not quite been able to get there yet, but she will get there.
So that is a part of what that's a part of the total money makeover by Dave Ramsey. So
Okay.
what I like about Dave's approach though is that he has you start off small, and that's why they're called the baby steps, right?
Baby steps. I like
So
this. Baby steps.
yes, because we've all been there, right? So that's okay. Remind me where I am real quick. I mean, right after this quick note.
Okay.
So that's like the people that say, pay off the credit card with the highest interest rate. You know how
Mm,
many times I tried to do that and I got so discouraged because I was looking at that balance like, this thing ain't going nowhere.
go down.
It's going nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Dave teaches the opposite. So like you do the smallest balance to the largest balance.
Okay.
Yeah, you might end up spending more, but it's about behavior, which I truly agree with. It's about our habits and knowing our habits.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, I do agree with the 6 months. Because guess what? The first the 6 months, God forbid you lose your job, you don't have to resort back to those credit cards.
Right.
You don't
Right.
have to go and take out a loan
Right.
to cover, your standard expenses. It just puts you in a better position. It puts you in a better position in order for you to handle your business at home.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Mm. We gonna figure this out. This is a group family meeting as we're learning to budget a little bit better. So someone says Brooke Stephen has a good book,
Mm-hmm.
Talking Dollars, Making Sense. Easy read to help with understanding how to relate to money. So,
Okay.
yes, if you have some suggestions, go ahead and share them. I will be sure to share the suggestions that Camille has. I'm sorry, the Coin Counter is sharing as well. So, someone else is asking, can you talk about the 70-30-20 rule?
In what regards?
All right. So to that commenter, if you can give some more information on that, we will work to answer that question. I also want to go back also to what you said about like the smallest bill. I learned that from you. Again, I've been paying attention. Where like if you pay that small bill off, once you're done paying that bill, you add that what you were paying to that to the next bill, so that you work to then get rid of that, and then you add both of those to the next one if you
Yes.
have that many. I don't know how many you have, but that's the part of paying a small and then adding that to a
Right.
bigger one to work
And
to.
it's every payment.
Yes.
So what people don't understand, what people don't realize is that those phones that we make these payments on, that's still a
Mm-hmm.
payment.
Mm-hmm.
So you include that phone payment, even though
Yeah.
it's not interest on that
Mm-hmm.
phone, it's still a payment.
Right.
So you want to include that, and then also, um, I just completely lost my train of thought.
It's all right. Bring it back, Lord. Bring it back,
Yes,
Lord.
yes, yes. Thank you, Jesus. I think that was all I had to say. I
Okay,
think. I
we'll
think.
take it. We'll take it.
Yes.
So and that's funny because that's like one of the things I upgraded my phone, and you upgrade your phone, it ups your price. But once you're done paying that off, then use that money that you were paying towards that to now go
Yes.
to that next bill that you were trying to pay off, and you continue to do that, and it helps you to get out. And with Gabrielle saying about that chain, the hope is that um you remember that purpose, you remember that why,
Yes.
and it motivates you to say, look, I'm doing this for my betterment. I'm doing it so that I don't have to live paycheck to paycheck. I'm doing this so that I
Exactly.
can have a special meal every so often. I can have that,
Exactly.
or I can have that, because you don't want to feel like you are making money and then you're not benefiting from.
Exactly.
I get having a roof over your head. I get having the electricity. I get having the
Yeah.
water. But it's sometimes that you want to treat yourself a little bit.
If you don't treat yourself, I'm telling you now, you won't stick with it. A lot of people in the debt-free community, um, they can, I'm talking about, listen, the first month that I went on this whole journey, I had to take a class downtown.
Okay.
And my best friend, she was amazed. I packed. The only thing I had to purchase was I think water from Wawa.
Okay.
That was it.
Okay.
Because my bag was too heavy. I had books and everything, but I had packed like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I'm not
Okay.
even kidding. And I'm talking about, I thought I was fancy when I switched over to like sunflower butter and like almond butter. And
Okay. I don't want those. No, thank you.
they're really good.
I'll take your word. No, thank you.
But it stopped me from having to go to Wawa and buy a sandwich. And then again, I'm not eating meat. So it makes it a little hard. And I didn't want to not have, food, and we're studying in class all day.
Mm-hmm.
So I packed snacks, I packed fruit, everything that you could think
Okay.
of. I've gotten a little lax.
Okay.
I won't lie.
Okay.
But I budgeted for it. So
Okay.
I give myself a buffer.
Okay.
And you have to be honest with yourself too. A lot of people aren't honest with their budget. They're like, I'm
Okay.
not going to spend any money in August. I'm like,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
okay, sure. That's not me.
So I did a little Google to try to learn a little bit more about the 70-30-20, and it
Okay.
looks like it's different increments that it can be, but it's basically saying that 70% goes to your living expenses, 20% goes to savings, and maybe 10% that you designate towards debt. So trying to divvy up your funds. But then I'm looking at that 70-30-20. That's more than 100.
Yeah, because 70 and 30 is 100. So,
Right, right.
okay. So you ever try to focus on something? You ever try to focus on like 10 different things at once?
Mm.
How
Everybody
far
can
do
do it.
you, yeah, how far do you get?
Yeah. Burned out.
No, no.
Over it.
You got to focus on one thing. And that one thing is, okay, you have your house, those bills are set. Your household bills are set. That's not something
Right.
that, unless you rent or,
Right.
you move or something like that. Those
Mm-hmm.
bills are set. If you know your why and you are trying to pay off debt, that's what you focus on.
Okay.
you can't, I shouldn't say can't, but it rarely works where you're trying to pay off debt. You're putting this money in investments. You're putting this money here. You're putting this money, especially if you're just starting out. For those that are experienced in it, kudos to you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I would get off track when I tried to do it that way. When I tried to
Okay.
put my hand in too many, put my money in too many different pots.
Okay.
That's how I feel about that. I'm studying for an investment securities license. So when she said 70/30, I was thinking that. So I was like,
Okay.
wait, I can't speak to that. So I just wanted to make sure what she meant in what respect.
Okay. Got it. Another
Yep.
question says, Kathleen, should you pay off something in a collection agency?
So here's the deal with that. It's already in collections. It is your debt. I am all about morale and paying for what I've spent.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but those places, I mean, it all depends. It depends on the situation. It depends on if you have the money.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and 9 times out of 10, they'll take a discounted. They'll work with
Right.
you
Right.
because then you could just call them and say like, do you want something? Because if you don't want anything, then I can definitely not send you no payment.
Let's talk about that
Um,
for a second.
oh
Calling them
Lord.
because sometimes we just ignore it, and if you keep on ignoring it,
Mm-mm,
that's
mm-mm.
not good.
No.
Crystal Rose, she is also going to be a guest. She's saying it's better to just pay the company.
Well, right before it gets to
Yes.
collections.
Yes.
Right. Absolutely.
Oh yes,
Absolutely.
yes, yes. You said they said
Yes.
apologies. The 7 cents. So yeah. So
Yeah.
I hope that answered your question. If it wasn't, you can share some more so we can give some more clarity as well.
Yes.
Yes, it doesn't wash off your credit properly, right? So you want to pay that company, make
Yeah.
sure
Just
it's clear, because then they report to your creditors, and we
yes.
that's going to talk about. Whoa, she's back.
All right.
It happens, I gotta get my studio crew together. Jennifer, get that together,
You know
okay?
what? It is a-okay. It
Yes,
is
yes, yes.
a-okay.
Yes, even when in collections, it's best to still just pay that company if you can.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely an agreement for that.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay,
But also, let me put this disclaimer out there. If
yes,
you are,
you're welcome.
God forbid, in a situation where you are barely able to even pay for your four walls, meaning like, food and light bill and water bill and mortgage payment or rent payment, they can wait.
And let's talk about that because sometimes we try to keep up with the Jones. Is that who it is? Keeping up with the Joneses?
Ooh, baby.
You move into something that you really can't afford. You want to have that fly car, but you can't really afford it. So again, you don't want to be breaking your back. I mean, I got a couple hustles myself, but you still want to be able to enjoy life. You don't want to be that you just ripping and running all the time. You got to be able to have that moment for yourself.
Listen, I know
Someone said,
someone
"Go ahead."
with a car note that was like one of my rent payments from a year
Mm-hmm.
for a couple years ago, and it blew my mind.
Mm-hmm.
But that goes into these interest rates that these car companies,
Yes.
these
Yes.
dealerships are giving out to people,
Yes.
people
Yes.
that some people that don't, some don't do their research, they just
Mm-hmm.
don't. um they say, well, my credit union is offering 5%, but if your credit rating, which is a whole nother conversation, if your credit rating is
Mm-hmm.
where in a good standing, that dealership, you tell them, oh no, I saw that you're offering 0%, or I saw that you're offering 1.9. And listen, for those that like brand new cars, kudos to you. I'm going to stick with my little like 1 to 2 year old car.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good.
And
For
that's
a
it.
cheaper amount.
And not be afraid to have those conversations. Like, we go to the store or we go to somebody and we good for talking somebody down for a price. Try it. You never know until you ask.
You never
It's not
know.
gonna go higher. It's
You
not gonna
never
stay
know.
where they at, or it may come
Nope.
lower.
Nope.
Um, Someone said I was recently told to do SMART goals for money, then create the budget based on the goal.
SMART goals. Is that like a proper term?
Yeah,
Or is
so
it just
it's the acronym. So it is uh, I'm a therapist. I should know this. Specific. It's measurable. It
mhm,
is attainable, achievable, or
Mhm.
attainable, achievable, realistic, and timely. So specific, measurable,
Mhm.
achievable, realistic, and timely. So hey, again, everybody has
It's
a different plan that works.
yeah,
It works
it's
for you.
right.
It's
It's
all
what
me.
works for you. Like I said, it all starts with your income.
Yes,
It
yes,
all start you can't make a budget if you don't pay attention to your income. You can't make a
yes,
budget if you're not paying attention to the money that's going out your door. You
yes,
you, you
yes.
just can't. It's not, the base is your income. That's what's going to work for you,
Okay, okay.
in my opinion.
You're on live us. I know I gotta get that studio crew, Crystal, because they wasn't ready. Jennifer, get it together, okay?
What?
All right. So somebody has a question, Gabrielle. How do you
Ooh,
budget in a relationship?
you both have to be on board.
Mm-hmm.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think in my one of my lives, I don't know, or in one part of my life, I think people think that I'm a counselor,
Mm-hmm.
so I get ears into a lot of married couples, like their situations, and a lot of it is about money.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have either the wife wants to clean up the get their household in order from a financial standpoint, and the husband doesn't, or vice versa, and that's the issue.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we are to be one together,
Mm-hmm.
how can we handle and manage our finances separately?
And sometimes people don't want to talk about finances in relationships.
No,
And
you have
I,
you have
I
to.
don't want to assume that this relationship is a married relationship, but if they're living together,
Excuse
those
me.
bills are most likely maybe on one person's name, the other person's name, but it still affects the both of you. Who's on that lease, who's on that mortgage agreement and things of that sort.
Right.
So definitely having those conversations to work that out. I mean, even if like it's just a regular, not regular. I mean, it's not regular. If you're just starting out dating or you're currently dating and you already have your budget together, but now you're going out on a date, you have to now budget that in as well. Birthdays come up, holidays come up. You have to budget that in as well,
Those
because
are days that don't change.
right,
Birthdays don't change.
mhm,
Christmas don't change. I mean, those are dates that we know about. And
right,
still
right,
and yet, January rolls around and everyone's like, "Oh, dear Lord, I spent
yeah,
$3,000 and I was only supposed to spend 1,500." And I'm like,
yeah,
"On what?
right, 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 right.
On what?"
So again, that's a life change. So you want to be able to adjust in budget. Somebody talked about I might have missed it, but they were talking about having children, how you have to now budget for that. That's a new expense. We have some amazing resources where you can get some free items. We have
Right.
amazing food banks around where you get good quality food from the bank.
Right.
And don't feel ashamed. I mean, if
No.
they was giving out that cheese that they used to give out years ago, I probably want some. It might make me some good macaroni and cheese. But not being afraid to take out their handout, because again, we're all
No.
in this together. We have to help each other. And again, if we have a resource, look into that resource.
Yes,
I was talking to a friend,
absolutely.
she went to a food bank and she got so much food, they loaded her up so much, she was able to bless 12 families. So again, it's,
Wow.
it's trying to help out.
That's
Don't
amazing.
be too good to take it.
No, absolutely not.
So another question: does it pay to refinance your card? To get a lower payment?
So here's my thing about cars and payments, and I know so many people are gonna probably be like, "Who does she think she is?"
You're the Koin Counter.
I absolutely despise car payments. Like I hate them with a passion.
Okay.
Um, I would. It depends on your APR. It
Okay.
truly depends on your APR. If you have, I mean, I don't know. I've seen some outrageous APRs for cars, and it's a car. It goes down in value. It's not an asset. Everyone, I mean, I think we've all been taught that. Like as soon as you drive off the lot, that thing depreciates what by a couple thousand.
Yeah.
Um, I get that people have to have car payments. I have a car payment. I hate it.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, I wish that I could use that for something else. So I don't have to have my $10 meals.
Right. So fun, not really a funny story, but it's okay because the Bible says all things work together for the good of those that love
Sure.
the Lord.
Yeah.
And I'm not even kidding you. August of 2019, I made the decision to, stop playing around and I'm gonna stick to my budget and blah, blah, blah. And my car was stolen the following month.
Okay.
Paid off car, paid off. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, yes, that,
Mm-hmm.
car payment I was paying, I'm gonna send that to this credit card and blah,
Yeah.
blah. And
Yeah.
yeah, someone liked my car more than I did. So I had to replace the car. And it was such a struggle for me because I was like, I don't want a car payment. I
Mm-hmm.
really, 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 really don't. Um, but I was able to, of course, do the research. And I ended up calling the guy that stole me the last car and
Mm-hmm.
got like the same, pretty much the same APR, the same deal. And it was like 1%. I
Awesome.
don't play with APRs. I'm sorry. I'm not
APR
playing.
is the annual
Sorry, the
percentage.
annual percentage rate that you pay on the car.
Yes.
Um,
Or a credit card.
and oh, on the credit card. Yes,
The
sorry.
CEO staff
Or
was
a loan. Or a loan. Or a
getting.
loan. Or a loan. You okay?
Yeah, yeah. Sorry. The CEO. The CEO.
um, so yeah, car payments are it's just you're throwing money into a machine that's just losing value. I hate it. I hate it with a passion.
You're grateful for it because it has its perks and benefits. I'll never forget. I think it was maybe last year. My car, I had bought her fresh off the lot. I mean, she was like a showroom. My Chevy Cobalt, my beautiful. I called her Blessing. That was her name. And she was getting sick. I knew she was getting sick. I just
Oh, I
didn't know what
remember.
her last day was going to be. Wait a minute now. And I'll never forget, like today I was like, all right, I'm gonna go to the car dealership and I'm gonna like work this out. I'm like, guys, so I don't want to pay more than like $200-ish.
Yep.
I don't really want my insurance to go up too much, so I needed to kind of stay within that. Trying to budget, trying to prepare because one, I'm not gonna go there and buy something where I gotta pay $500 a month. I already
That's
got
another
school
thing
loans.
people don't do. That's another thing people don't do. Call your insurance and say, hey, I'm
Mhm.
looking at this car or I'm
Yes,
looking at these cars.
yes.
Can you let me know what my
Mhm.
6 month premium would be or my annual premium would be? But go ahead.
And I did that. We checked on my Geico. I don't know if I really say 15%, but I've been with them so long. Thanks, Geico. Um, but we got there, and it's an all day process. But the first car that I had looked into, I wasn't one trying to buy something new. I already had a
Right,
brand new car. I was good with it. It was amazing. She lasted me years. I
right.
went some years without having to pay a car note, but now my baby died. I mean, we're driving to the car dealership, and she cuts off. I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, wait a minute. We're not there yet, sweetie.
We not.
We gotta get there." We live like around the corner. So we get there nevertheless. And we're talking through about a car. We get through my paperwork and everything. And then like 10 minutes in, about 10 minutes almost being done, the initial stages, because you're there all day really doing paperwork, getting approvals and things.
Yes.
Um, and they said that car is no longer available. All right. All things work together for our good. So then they said, we got this other car. They showed me the car. I was like, all right, good. It's great. She is now beautiful B, beautiful blessing. However,
Yes.
my payments were 208. And I said
Hmm.
it because if anybody want to be a blessing, I'm Jesus, I'm Jesus. But
My cash app is, no, I'm just kidding.
but it's what I asked for, it's what I budgeted for, and
Right.
God worked that out for me because,
Yep.
and I also use wisdom. Like again, I'm not buying something that's a gazillion dollars when I know what
No,
my budget is. I still
no.
have a house to pay for. I still have other bills to pay for. So
Exactly.
I'm really looking into that. My insurance went up maybe $15.
Exactly.
Okay, so that was
Exactly.
maybe still less than 250. My
Hmm.
budget was like no more than $250 a month, and
Yeah.
it was less than that. So
Right.
again, really looking into that, weighing the pros and cons of knowing getting your money's worth, but
Yeah.
also not going broke.
Yeah.
Not
Listen,
going broke.
like I said, my oh, Collins, my dad he literally was an Audi person, like ingrained in my brain. You will
Mm-hmm.
drive an Audi, daughter. You will this, you will that. So I'm thinking I'm just gonna be, living this high life. And
Yes.
then adulthood kicked in, and I was like, Dad, I cannot afford no Audi, not right now.
Until it
And
kicked in. Lord.
right, so I was, fortunate enough. So many people were like, "Oh, the insurance isn't going to give you anything," and I was like, "Whatever, that's fine. I don't care."
Mm-hmm.
But they gave me more than what the car was even worth. So
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
Come
Um,
on, child.
so
Won't he do it?
I
Won't he do it?
went and test drove. I went to test drove a car that I knew I never, never, ever, ever wanted to own. And I was like, this is not what I want. No, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And I happened to turn around and I see an Audi.
Mm-hmm.
And I test drove that Audi.
Mm.
And I'm not
What
trying to
you doing
be,
about it?
all special, but literally when I started that car, back here got warm. Like I was
Okay.
like in love. Like, I
Okay.
was like, oh, you hear that? You hear that engine?
Mm.
But I went home and I said, no, no, you're on a
Mm.
journey.
Mm.
You will have that Audi. And if God forbid you leave this earth before you even be able to drive that Audi, then it was never meant for you to have that
Yes.
Audi.
Yes.
So, you just have to make decisions. You just have to remember your why. I can't stress that enough.
Mm.
You have to remember your why.
I love that part too of how, like, the tingle sensation. You want to also have that peace when
Mm,
you're making a big purchase. So
yep.
I got somebody to talk about, purchasing a home. Keep on watching. This is amazing, like how people keep coming around to connect to be able to come on this platform. Um, but I seen some houses that put it on pause, try to get some years later, and I had went to see like three houses. One house I saw, I was like, okay, it's not too big. I thought I would be hesitant because it was big.
Right.
So I was like, okay, it's not bad. I went to see another one. I was like, no, this is too small. I don't like this. So again,
Mhm.
knowing what you like and things of that sort.
Yes. Yes.
Um, that first house, even though I liked it, stuff was just getting messed up. They weren't like responding and things of that sort. But then I
Mm,
came to see the current house that I live in. When I tell you, I walked in, I was like, okay. And the
hmm
amazing part is in the description it said, move in, unpack, and smile. I have not stopped smiling. I walk in, I say, God, I thank you for my house. I'm like, God,
Yes.
did you miss me? And again, you want to have that
Yes.
comfort because then you know that your will is meshing up with God's will, and you know that
Yes.
it's going to work out.
Absolutely.
It's working out. It has been working out 5 years. I thank God truly. So but having that peace, having that like this is it.
Right.
Trust that intuition that you have, that gut feeling to know
Yes.
this was a good decision or not a good decision.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
Somebody commented, if you can reduce your interest rate by 1 or 2%, you may pay less on your final cost. So yes, you can always have those conversations to try to get that APR reduced.
For what?
I
For a
think that was
vehicle?
yeah, I think that was in response to the vehicle.
Okay.
Uh, Okay, amen. Okay,
Mm,
somebody else said, if you're dating with the possibility of marriage, then finances should be in your conversations. Absolutely,
absolutely.
absolutely.
Absolutely. I don't know how I feel about, combining my income with someone that I'm not married to, but
Mhm.
I don't know. I can't speak to that. So,
Well, when the time comes and you get
mhm.
that sensation, you're like, okay, this is it. You had these conversations, and I promise you, it's gonna work out just fine. Because you having that, because God gives you that peace of knowing that calmness. You're assured it's like it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
So don't worry about that. It's gonna work out.
Hmm.
She's like, that's right. Okay, another question or a comment is saying, I wish public transportation was an option where I'm located. I hate paying car notes. Again, we understand. We
So,
understand.
okay. So one of your, if you want, you can make one of your whys. Okay, I'm budgeting so that I can throw all of my extra money, not all, but more money to my car note. Who's to say you can't pay your car note early?
Mm, you're right.
Who's to say you can't pay your student loans early?
Huh.
Who's to say, you know what I mean? Like you don't just just because you're contracted, there's no early payoff
Yes, yes.
penalty. They don't do that anymore. So you can
Mhm.
pay your stuff off early,
Yes.
and that's what I intend to do. I'm not and all this. Can we stop with the 72 months to pay off a car? um when you calculate that interest, especially if you do have a higher interest rate,
Mm-hmm.
it's just not, it doesn't work. Like they're robbing you. They're
Got it.
robbing you.
Mhm.
And it's not, I'm not coming from a place of judgment or anything like that. I'm coming from a place of concern because a lot of people, we weren't taught this growing up.
Mhm.
um
Right.
so it's just those longer, and that's what they're doing, like 72 and 84 months. Like that's not for a car that's depreciating.
Mm.
No.
Got it. It's important to be realistic with yourself, and it's important to ask questions. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Leave room for
Absolutely.
surprises. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
And you mentioned the Joneses earlier.
Uh huh.
Can I
Yes,
make a
people
comment?
budget often. Yes, yes. Go
Oh,
ahead.
I have budget meetings with myself every third Saturday.
Okay,
So
okay.
I
Every
think
third
couple,
Saturday.
yeah, I think married couples have a leg up in that regard because they have someone there. If they're on the same page, they have someone there that's like, listen, we need to pay off this, this Chase card.
Mm-hmm.
What did you spend? You know what I mean? Like they have
Yeah.
someone to keep them on task.
And
Whereas
right
me
now,
being
with
single,
Amazon knocking on the door every day.
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to
Okay,
talk about Amazon.
okay, okay.
I even have a budgeted. I listen. I got a budget item for this ice cream place that's in this in like the two towns over from me,
Mm-hmm.
and I give myself a $20 budget every month. Because first I shouldn't be eating all that ice cream anyway, but it's so good. Um, and then I give myself a coffee budget. I don't care. It's my budget.
Mm-hmm.
I will budget for what I want.
Yeah.
You
There you
have to be like she said, be realistic with yourself.
go. Yes.
Visit your budget often. You have to become one with your
Mm-hmm.
budget,
Awesome.
right? But I wanted to say this about the Joneses. So there's a chapter in the Total Money Makeover book, and it's titled "The
Amen.
Joneses Are Broke." The Joneses are broke.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good right there, though.
Mm,
Because you're keeping up with them and don't know that they robbing
mm,
Peter to pay Paul too.
mm.
Amen.
No one's telling you their financial
Nobody's
situation.
telling you
No.
because they're not even putting it out there. They just keep on walking out with their little whatever it is. I'm throwing stuff out. I'm not saying it is, but the red bottoms or the those lace fronts or whatever it is because we're buying these things.
Yep.
And
Hmm.
it's and again, that wig that you might buy, it may last you a long time and it's
Right.
better in the long run. But sometimes we're buying the things not at the time that we should be buying them.
Or you're putting in, I don't know, like I literally have had a credit card since I was 18. So like I've
Mm-hmm.
always had credit cards.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas people, some people don't have credit cards. And
Right. Still struggling.
yeah, I envy those people that don't have
But it
credit
doesn't mean
cards.
they still don't have, things that
But
they're trying to make.
exactly. So,
Because then we
it's
got
just,
something else. And QVC has that where you can do those 3 payments or whatever like that. I'm not doing no shade to
Lord,
people. I know that QVC comes through sometimes.
yeah.
But that comes in handy. But also, and that's better too sometimes, those payments, because it's per month. So it's not like a chunk,
And it's not on
right?
a credit
And it's
card.
not
So
on a
that's where
credit
you get
card.
yourself in trouble. So like
Yes.
literally I used to walk around with like 6 to 7 credit cards in my wallet. I'm not even kidding you.
Yeah,
And
I'm not.
I would just play eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and I would be like,
Oh,
oh. And then I thought I was beating the credit card companies. I was like, oh, I'm gonna transfer this balance to this 0% APR. And
mm-hmm.
you transfer the balance, but then you're still using it.
Yeah.
Oh, that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't work. Doesn't work.
Hmm.
I'm telling
Okay.
you. It's a nasty game.
And that's the game. I don't want to play. I tap out. Out. I'm out. So one more question. Do
Okay.
you feel there's an age limit to becoming a homeowner? And again, we will have a yeah, so go ahead. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, no, I think that's more appropriate for your segment because I'm
Okay.
not a homeowner, so I
Okay.
really probably can't speak to that. I don't think
Okay.
so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh. So we will have a realtor coming on October, and as well as a
Ooh.
credit repair October,
Okay.
because October's theme is getting your house in order. It's going to be amazing. September's back
Nice.
to school. That's going to be amazing. Um,
Nice.
so again, keep on coming back. I've been connecting with some amazing people. I hope that you were blessed by Kamiel on tonight, and I thank you so much for joining us. What are some highlights that you want to leave with us that we walk away with?
Ooh. Okay. So, all right. If you are new, I'm going to say this again because I said it earlier. If you are new to budgeting and just getting started, give yourself some grace and time to get acclimated. This is new, and most of us hate change. I know I do.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when we feel as if we're on punishment, right? So what did she
Mm-hmm.
say? The ball and chain.
Yes, yes.
Um, know that you will go over your budget in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
but just stick to it. Give
Yes.
yourself grace and stick to it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Become one with your budget.
Yes.
um like I said, I hold a budget meeting every third Saturday of the
Yes.
month in order to prepare my goals and note my spending for the upcoming month, as well as
Okay.
how much will be allocated for each category. Like I said, I
Yeah.
donate to the local soup kitchen. I have a line item for that.
Okay.
Um, get yourself an accountability partner. It's super, super,
Yes, I want
super,
to talk about
super,
that. We said
super
that
important.
earlier. Accountability, because that way somebody helps you stay in line.
Yes. like I said, the married couples, they have an advantage in that area, if they're both on the same page.
Right.
Us single people, I'll make excuses sometimes, and I'll be
Mhm.
like, "Girl, you better go ahead and get you some sushi rolls." And I'll just like, like I like fancy sushi rolls, so like, sometimes they be like, "Oh, your total is $65." Whew. So, um,
Woo.
you
That's
also
like
have to
me $60 with you. Not, all right, offline, offline. Go ahead. Go ahead.
you have to get someone that is going to tell you
Yes.
no
Yes.
or remind you. Literally, my best friend, she's like, no. But
Mm.
when it's right, she says yes. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you just have to have that accountability partner.
Yeah.
And also your accountability partner has to be someone you trust with your financial
Mm.
situation. I can't stress that enough.
Mm.
You cannot have an accountability partner that could possibly be envious of how much you make.
Mm.
Oh, but that's a topic for another convo.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Whew.
Yeah. Sea life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Educate yourself.
Yeah.
Educate yourself. There are so many resources out there. We have the internet. You can Google. I don't know. You can put in the dumbest question, or it's not even dumb, but like you can put
Yep.
in the
Because somebody
simplest
else
of
has
questions.
asked it.
Put in the simplest
Somebody else has
question.
asked it.
But I like, Nerd Wallet. Money Magazine has some good topics, or articles, should I say? But Nerd Wallet, I'm actually subscribed. I have the app,
Mm.
and of course, everybody that knows me, I'm a Dave Ramsey fan.
Mm.
I'm a part of the Dave Ramsey network as far as like the apps and everything.
Mm.
He has a full-fledged plan, to make your money work for you and in generations to come, right? Because that's what we should be striving for, right? So
Right.
our
Right.
children's children to have something, um, and then the most important is remember your why.
Mm. I love it.
Remember your why. I cannot literally stress this enough. If there is no end goal, what is the reasoning behind you doing it?
Mm.
You won't stick with it.
Very good.
You won't stick with it.
Mm.
Um, I know. I feel like there were so many different things that I wanted to say, but I know we're over time, so I'll just, I guess, I'll just share it with you, and then you can probably post.
Oh, or you can come again.
Oh, I mean, if they want me back, I mean, I don't know.
No, no, no. So I'm gonna tell y'all a little secret, and it's no no just not in a bad way, totally good.
Mhm.
So many times we have people come on and they're like so nervous and scared, but once they get in their groove, it's like you soaring, and like that's
Right.
just amazing. And again, the hope is just to be able to share the information with the community so that they know budgeting is important. You need to
Yes.
start yesterday and give yourself grace. And that's what, Camilla's here sharing with us, the Koin Counter. I love it. I love it, love it, love it, love it. Yes. Somebody said Money Manager is a nice budget app.
Okay.
Very good, very good.
Oh,
So, yes,
every dollar is a nice budgeting app too. I'll send it to you.
yeah, so she'll send
Yeah.
it to me, and I'll be sure to post it and share it from the tidbits, as well as when we do our rewind Thursdays. Yes, we do rewind Thursdays, where you get to catch a little rewind of what
Oh,
amazingness that happened today. So again, I thank you so much. Thank you so
no,
much.
thank you. Thank you.
And we will have you again so you can like, give me the other piece that you didn't give me. In case I have questions about it, it's just easier to have you,
Okay.
the expert, to share about it. All right.
No problem.
Oh, thank you again so much, Camille.
No, thank you. Have a good night.
You too. All right. So the studio is back together again. We was having some technical difficulties tonight, but wasn't that awesome? Oh my goodness, that was amazing. Love Camille, the Coin Counter. And another thing that's been amazing when I connect with the guests, um, they'll be telling me how it's all God ordained. God is amazing. You got to listen to God. Mm-hmm. I'll talk to them and they're like, I was really on my heart to be able to kind of share some resources with people. So yes, I would love to be a part. So again, it's so amazing how we just continue to connect with these amazing people that are coming on and sharing these nuggets. Please come back next week. So again, everything happens for a reason. We had to do a little switcheroo, but hey, I found somebody else for you. So next week at 8 p.m., we will have Travani Gilliam as we talk about life insurance to find out, are you sure you're insured? And let me tell you, when I talk to sis, I can't wait till she get on here because she gonna give it to you like it is, all right? And everybody comes and give it to you like it is because it comes from a place of love. It comes from a place of me wanting you to do good. It's not about pulling anybody down, but it's helping uprise our community, all right? So again, hey, we want to hear from you. So if you have a topic or a resource that you want me to bring, please email me at chosencounselorsinc@gmail.com. If you know somebody that would be a good guest, let me know their information too so I can add them in. As stated, September is our back to school series. Right now, we're in our finance series. October is getting your house in order. However, November is going to be a wild card. No series topic, but I'm going to have some amazing people coming. So if you have somebody that you feel like, hey, they got some good nuggets, give me their information. I'll be sure to try to add them in. All right? One more thing. If you're not busy, tomorrow, she is out here. You hear me? Because grief is often associated with death alone. But what if I told you that grief, or we grieve various things unrelated to death, like every day, okay? So like this can include the loss of a relationship, a sense of security, finances, and more. So join me tomorrow at 1 p.m. We're having a Zoom. I'll be sure to post this as well because we're going to talk through grief, okay? It's not always easy adjusting through the different stages of grief, but guess what? Let me show my face. Guess what? It's normal, all right? It's normal. We all grieve of various things all the time, and it's normal. So tomorrow at 1 o'clock, I'm going to do a Zoom with my friends at Turning Points for Children, KUA, their community engagement group that asked me to come and talk about grief. I am excited. I can't wait. God is amazing. He's opening up doors, and there's nobody but him. Okay? But y'all keep on joining me. I love you all for real. Let me see. Is that all my announcements? I think that's all. Wait a minute. I see some comments. What are we saying? Good show once again. Oh, thank you so much. Amazing. You ladies are amazing. You are amazing, Kat. Nice convo. Yes. Thanks for the invite. And again, please come back next Monday. It's going to be amazing. I am excited. Every time we come on here, I'm excited. So again, I hope to see you next Monday. I don't know who you are that's watching because I only see from the comments. But again, from my heart, top of my heart, all of my heart, I truly appreciate you. I thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, and your feedback. That does my heart good to know that it is touching somebody's life because we're about strengthening the individual and the family. So again, thank you so much for joining me. I love you all for real, and I'll talk to you later.